Hello everyone, my name is Pacha and welcome back to another episode of Raven Creek Park, of course here in the amazing game Planet Zoo. And today, as you could maybe have guessed from the title, we are doing something a little bit different and something I usually don't do, and that is building for a species that doesn't exist in this game. But instead of making this an implied habitat, so implied habitat means you're building a habitat but with no animals because the animal is currently not in the game, we are building for an animal that is in the game but isn't the animal that I'm building for. Let me explain what I mean by that and why this could be a little confusing. As you could have probably guessed already from the title, we are building for the gray fox today. The gray fox being a member of the fox species, obviously, an American member of the fox species, but there is no gray fox in this game, at least not officially. I think there is a mod for the gray fox on Nexus Workshop, but as I'm not using mods, we of course don't have access to that animal. But I'm still building for an animal today, and yeah, that is the red fox. If you remember, months and months and months ago, I think almost a year ago, we already built for the red fox when it released with the Twilight pack. We even built here in Raven Creek for the red fox in what is now the abandoned or the old forest area, which is now the Tillamook Creek, which I did a tour of last week. But yeah, I built there for the red fox, just normal red fox, and that was it. But of course, I now have moved things. Now different animals are in different places, and the red fox was one of them. But I wanted to change things up a little bit, and I don't want to build for the red fox. It is a common zoo animal, at least here in Europe. I don't know how it is in the States, but yeah, I wanted to build for something that is truly American, so to say. And since we are in our bayou area over here, in our swamp area, inspired by a place like Mississippi, Louisiana, Florida, stuff like that, the bayou and swamps there, a common animal that is or was in the past very common in these areas is the gray fox. As I said, now we don't have a gray fox in the game, which is really sad because it's a truly special member of the fox family. But we have different color morphs of the red fox in the game. And one of these color morphs, which is the partially melanistic cross color morph, that's a mouthful, looks or happens to look a lot like a gray fox. Now, of course, it's not 100% the same coloration. For example, gray foxes have they have black tips, black tail tips, I should say. So the end of their tail is black, and with red foxes, of course, it is a white tip, and their whole build is a little more sturdy. They have shorter legs, and they are a lot smaller than a red fox. But in general, the overall coloration of the part melanistic cross with the red and gray and brown and black colorations that they have is close to the gray fox. And if I remember to do that, I will note, or I will show a picture, I will show a picture of a comparison between a gray fox, a red fox, and a part melanistic cross fox, red fox, on screen. So for a moment, so have an idea of what they look in comparison to each other. But yeah, that's what I was referring to when I'm saying I'm building for a non-existing creature, but I'm building for a creature that is in the game. So now with that out of the way, we can talk about the build. And yeah, we already saw that I built a lot of security fences, so to say, with an overhang. I also built this this corrugated metal fence in the background, similar to the background fence of our raccoon habitat, which is the neighbor of this habitat. So this is basically in one complex. To the right is the raccoon habitat, which I also made a video of if you want to check that out. And the reason why I do all these overhangs and these climbing safety measures is because the gray fox is adapted to climbing trees. It's the only member, or one of the only members of the canine, so the dog family, so to say, that is adapted to climbing trees, and makes it a very special member of that family, because they also sometimes build their burrows high up in the trees. They hunt up in the trees. They escape predators there. So when you're building for red fox, no, for a gray fox, I will truly confuse that from time to time now. When you're building for gray fox, you should keep your climbing safety measurements in mind in designing that, and that's why usually in real zoos most gray fox habitats are netted over or are like cages with no free airspace, so to say, so that the foxes don't escape while we are climbing out or we are climbing the fences. But I went with more of an open approach, and now we have these security fences, so to say, these climbing security fences over here, and we will also feature some climbing rigs, some climbing opportunities for the fox where they can walk up. Of course, the in-game red foxes can't climb, but to keep that illusion of this being a gray fox, I had to add these climb opportunities for the gray fox. But yeah, let's talk about what we're actually doing instead of talking about everything else. You just saw me building this tunnel, this garden tunnel. I don't know what's the English name for it is. I don't even really know what the German word for it would be. So this wood panels, these wood tunnel with a lot of plants growing over it. If you know what I mean, what I'm referring to, you know what you thought, please leave a comment what the English word for it is. Where you have these vines, sometimes you have these Virginia creepers, or you have other creeping plants growing over the tunnel, creating this very almost feel like you're walking through the plants basically. And I wanted to have that as a viewing opportunity, kind of like for the foxes to kind of hide a little bit the viewing area from the guests use, for the foxes don't feel so watched or so observed, and also to give a nice look with this Virginia creeper growing everywhere, kind of also reminding, because we are in this area here is modeled after a suburban area in the bayou basically, where you have these houses and then you have a lot of backyards, so to say. So the raccoon habitat is modeled after the backyard, and this gray fox area is also modeled after the backyard. So they have this suburban feel, and then you would have in a garden you would have these gangways, these hallways made out of these plants, just like you would have in a garden center or in a park, something like that. But we are also using this viewing area over here. I'm sorry for my rambling now. If I would know the word, I could have planned it better. But we're also using this viewing area over here, which if you are a long-time member of this channel, you might recognize that I built that way back in the day when I was building for the Timberwolf, which I think was my fourth or fifth video ever. We built for the Timberwolves, and back then I made this viewing opportunity, and nowadays it's kind of gone obsolete with the new wolf habitat, but I still wanted to use it. I wanted to use, because I really liked what I built back there, with octagonal shaped viewing opportunity. I wanted to reuse that, so I kept it safe. I put it in my scrapyard, in my piece scrapyard, and now we can use it for the foxes, and it will serve another purpose. So it's not only a viewing area for the foxes, because we already have two viewing areas for the fox, but it will also be a viewing area for a totally different animal, which I'm really excited to build for, and which we will build for soon. Maybe next week, maybe the week after that. I yet have to decide what I want to do for next week, but you will see when it happens. But we have this viewing area over there. We have two glass viewing areas, and then we have a good look at the foxes. And of course, because this is a backyard, we also have this kind of like a planter, I would call it, a raised planter for some gardening stuff. That is also, of course, used as some verticality space for the red foxes. And I was thinking that that is what I'm building now. I was thinking a really cool idea, because red foxes are canids, so they are dogs basically, or related to dogs. What what if I would have like a dog shed, because this is a backyard and you would have this very typical dog shed, typical dog house in the backyard, especially maybe in the bayou area, in these kind of rural areas down there in the south. So yeah, building a dog shed as a shelter for the red fox, for the gray fox. Sorry, I feel this was a kind of a funny idea to do that. Sadly, they can't use it. Yeah, despite the red fox, so this time red fox having an incredible good space navigational system, hitbox, I want to say, having an incredibly good hitbox, and they are fitting into a lot of small spaces, some of which I was even surprised about. They can't fit in this little hut, which I'm very sad about. But it is what it is. They use the space under the stairs, under the porch, to sleep. So I put some bedding down there, and they sleep under the porch. It's also kind of a cute idea. And which I think you would see in real life with foxes and other animals, wild animals, that they would sleep under these raised houses, or under the porch, because it is safe from the weather there, and also kind of warm. So they do that, but they sadly don't use the dog hut. But it is still a nice piece of environmental telling, or like a bit of theming, I should say. But it was a nice idea I had for that. But yeah, let's go over to some climbing opportunities. As I said, the gray fox is a climber. He climbs trees. So we need, if this would be a real gray fox habitat, we would need some climbing opportunities for them, because that is part of how they hunt, how they look out for their young. They even, as I said, build their burrows or their dens, sometimes very high up in the trees or in hollow out tree trunks. So it's important to have these in there. And also, it is important to say that the gray fox has a really hard time nowadays in the US, because due to forestation and pollution and urbanization, they are pushed back more and more by the red fox, which is competing with them about food sources, and is very much outperforming them. And it doesn't help that they are a very small species. They have a lot of natural predators like bobcats and coyotes, who often kill them but don't eat them. They just kill them because they are competing for food sources with them. So the red foxes slowly over time move towards the urban centers of the US. So they start to live in the cities. They start to feed on the junk and on the debris that the humans leave behind. And this gives an opportunity to survive, but it's not an optimal way to live for a wild animal, to be dependent on human waste and human trash and stuff like that. But and it doesn't really help also that the gray fox can still be hunted legally in the US, and is hunted, or still be hunted every year and every season. So they have a hard time in the US, but there are programs, there are measurements to prevent them from going extinct and stuff like that. So we can hope that they will survive. But yeah, we are back with some, what we always love, backstage building over here, some something we did in every episode, we almost do in every episode, and a similar thing we did in the last episode with the Wolverine. So I also, of course, did now the backstage. If you remember, I didn't do one for the raccoons back then, but I cut this out now. I also did the backstage for the raccoon, and you will see that in the real-time part at the end of this speed build, that now this building has backstages for both species. And now we are at, of course, the final part of every of my videos. Again, we are at the foliage section of the video, where we do all the foliage, we do all the enrichment items, we do all the rock work, and all the little details that we are still missing, like some more theming later on with some barrels, some other things that make it look like more of a backyard that is slowly turning into the wilderness. And yeah, the next parts of this area that are following this path, the next parts of this area will be more of a wild theming. We are slowly leaving behind civilization, we are slowly leaving behind some more urban areas where you would find animals like the raccoon and the gray fox, and we're getting more into the real bayou, so to say, into the real wilderness, with some animals that are yeah, maybe a bit more exciting, so to say, than a raccoon and than a trash panda and a fox. um, but yeah, I will now leave you with the rest of the speedbuild with some awesome music, and then I hope I see you at the end in the real-time part. Sorry if I was a little bit more confusingly talking this video. Happens from time to time, especially if I am recording late, which is when I'm recording most of the time at the moment. But yeah, I hope you don't mind. But yeah, as I said, leave it to the rest of the video with some music, speed with some music, and then I see you in the real-time part. Alrighty, here we are now in the real-time part, standing in front of our raccoon habitat that we built so many years ago, not so many years ago, but so many months ago, where they are having a grand time walking on the water and swimming. But yeah, we are not here for the raccoons, we are here for the gray fox. And yeah, I added some more decoration to the general area, to the general house here, the backstage house, with some netting, some planter pots, and this nice raccoon statue, which I love to sprinkle all over the zoo, these reward statues, if they are fitting that area. I love to add them. And before we look at the habitat, we want to look at the backstage area. And as I said, I added also the raccoon backstage over here, and here we have the gray fox stage. All I did, what was not in the speed build, was adding these little platforms and this little nesting box, so that the raccoons can have a higher perspective and can get up and can climb a little bit, and the gray fox can as well. And then just some basic stuff that I have in every backstage: some racks for the tools, some shelves, a cleaning and washing station for the food. Nothing spectacular, nothing out of the world. And let's move over to our gray foxes, but I think I have to change the time to get the sun in the right. Yeah, that's correct. But now we have this tunnel here. As I said, let me know in the comments what's the name of these tunnels, if there is a name for that. I totally don't know. But that's not what we're here for. We are here for the gray foxes, which I don't see. Probably they're behind there. But yeah, love the view. Maybe I could raise the fence a little bit higher so that the mesh gets obscured by the viewing shelter for the viewing area. But still, if you go close, it still works nice and fine. You have a little sprinkler. Here you have the dog house, which I sadly can't use. And you have your, bedding, your shelter for the gray fox under here. And of course, another climbing opportunity, which surprisingly the red fox can get on top of. I think I can show that later once we saw the whole habitat. It works, which is amazing that they can jump on top of it and down. Really surprised me, but yeah, kind of really sells the deal that they would be able to climb up there as a gray fox. So let's move on to the second viewing area, which is over here, and there we have one. There we have a red-gray fox, a gray-red fox. Yeah, if you compare them to real gray foxes, they look very similar, minus the tip of the tail, which is black, but otherwise they look quite similar to them. I also went for the smallest size percentage for the red fox, so they kind of match the size of a gray fox, but still, gray foxes are more sturdy and have some other features, but yeah. I do what I missed. And yeah, here we have the final viewing area, which is of course not finished yet because we are still missing the other side, which will come later. But it gives you a nice view into the water area and then the habitat in general, which slightly bends into your view. And this viewing area is kind of hidden, and this viewing area here, of course, is also hidden by the reed, so you won't be able to have some unwanted cross views. And then just some theming, like this little water barrel, like this barrel over here floating in the water and stuff like that. Nothing too crazy. But yeah, this is it. Just a small and simple habitat for the foxes. There we have him. And now we can try to get him up here. See if I fail at this or if it works. Can I mean, I have to see it. Yeah, there we go. Okay, now we can see that. In fact, they can stand up here if they want to. They can also stand up on the other climbing frame, which is very cool that they can do that. And if they don't want to, they can just simply down. They're not stuck there. But I think they would not, from themselves, they would not jump up there. There's nothing for them to go up there. Maybe I hide some enrichment item on top, so they would be encouraged to jump up, but otherwise they will just stay down. Can also make it a little bit, so we can see, he jumped down. But this is the gray fox, red fox, gray red fox habitat. And let me know in the comments how you liked it, if you enjoyed the video, and I hope I see you, let's go down here, I hope I see you in the next video next week, and until then, you have a great time, stay safe, and bye bye everyone.